As the sun rises over the Annapurna, the smoke begins its sacred ascent towards the giant.
Equipped with only basic protection, the hunter must approach the colony with the utmost respect. This golden elixir, once collected from the wild hives, must now be carefully filtered to remove any remaining debris before bottling.
The ancient Egyptians believed that bees were the tears of the sun god Ra. Perhaps that is why the sweet nectar they produce always holds a wondrous allure.
But behind that sweetness lies a perilous journey,
where humans must trade sweat, blood, and sometimes even their lives. As we explore the expeditions to harvest thousands of tons of wild honey amidst the pristine wilderness.
These ancient depictions are awe-inspiring. They show us that the tradition of honey harvesting dates back.
This ancient practice requires immense bravery. As the comb is cut, the hive becomes agitated.
These incredible structures are home to tens of thousands of bees, all working in perfect synchronization to produce the golden liquid.
This is the giant honeybee, Apis dorsata. Found only in Southeast Asia, they build these incredible, massive, open nests.
Of the 9 known honeybee species, only 1 originates from Europe and Africa.
The remaining 8 species originate from Asia and are all present in Southeast Asia.
Therefore, it is not surprising that wild honey harvesting activities are still very common in this region.
Covered in thousands of bees, the must remain calm.
This is the moment of truth. The wild honey of the Himalayas is legendary, but retrieving Searching for and harvesting wild honey is an extremely arduous job.
To obtain those precious drops of wild honey, the harvester must traverse from one mountain peak to another. For Tony and the other hunters, this dangerous crossing is just the first step in a journey that demands skill, courage, and respect for the wild. Deep within the towering trees of the Himalayas, these incredible insects create architectural marvels, dripping with the highly prized golden liquid.
The quickest way to find a hive is to follow streams.
When the bees are seen flying down to the water, the harvester will track their flight direction.
If they skim low over the surface, the hive is likely very close.
But if they soar straight upward, the hive could be more than a mile away. The best time to harvest honey is in the morning, around 9 a.m., when the bees are less aggressive.
The main harvesting season runs from the 3rd to the 8th lunar months, the dry period when forest flowers bloom abundantly and the bees work most diligently.
This is the heart of the colony, a marvel of engineering.
The equipment of hunters in this region is quite simple,
typically including drinking water, dry rations, a knife, rope, a bag or container for honey, and a lighter. For these communities, the quest for honey is not merely a task, but a perilous tradition passed down through generations.
No matter how experienced they are, they still need protective gear.
The tradition demands respect for the bees. But even with precautions, disturbing a colony this size is incredibly dangerous.
Thick, heavy suits with mesh veils over the face and thick gloves help them to withstand hundreds of stings.
The sheer number of stingers embedded in this glove shows the danger involved in collecting wild honey.
However, for milder species like honeybees, some skilled harvesters do not need protective equipment at all.
The honey hunter must move with extreme precision. One wrong move on the rock face could disturb the colony and have fatal consequences.
Honeybee colonies typically nest at altitudes from 3,900 to over 11,500 feet.
High in the canopy, the harvest begins. Concentrated in the northern mountainous regions of Vietnam, Laos, and Myanmar.
When harvesting, locals do not apply fire directly to the hive, but create smoke from bundles of dry leaves in order to avoid forest fires.
These smoke plumes drive the bees away from the hive, allowing the harvester to use a knife to cut out the wax combs filled with honey.
The entire process takes around 10 minutes.
However, not every hunt is that straightforward. For the kuai bee, one of the most aggressive species, things can become exponentially more dangerous. This is the challenge facing the honey hunters. Using only traditional methods, they must scale these towering trees to reach the giant hives.
If just one bee attacks, the entire colony will swarm out like a storm.
A single sting from them can cause high fever and is extremely hazardous if stung in large numbers.
High in the canopy, these giant honeybees, Apis dorsata, build colossal hives. A single wrong move here could be fatal.
Moreover, the hives of this species are located at a very high position, often nearly 20 meters up.
The harvester must climb while wearing cumbersome protective gear.
In particularly unique areas like the Sundarbans forest between India and Bangladesh, they also face threats from tigers lurking at the base of trees.